Morning, everyone, respected panelists and dear friends. Uh, I'll start with a point here saying that the cloud still remains a cloud unless it rains for you. What I mean by saying this is like we have clouds everywhere. We have cloud in Hyderabad. We have clouds in Delhi. Delhi, people from Delhi know there are clouds for last 10 days, but if it doesn't rain, it doesn't make sense for you. So you don't have to really do cloud technology unless it makes sense. What we are saying is when you want to get into cloud technology, please understand at this stage what is that you want to move in for. I think when we heard some of the speakers says that we can start with doing software as a service. Maybe that is a quick way to get into the government today and roll out a lot of new services. Government today is building a lot of platforms that an area which can be leveraged and start rolling out services over there. So that is what. So if you look at the cloud today, the idea here is talking about, it is primarily saying on demand you want to leverage and roll out your services quickly and only use it the time you need it. Because today, when the point came up that we really don't know where to start, what can be the maybe load on a particular service which we want to roll out. Do we want to really push in that amount of hardware for looking at 2 years down the line, or can we start with something, look at a small infrastructure right now and build on top of it and leverage on the cloud technology? So how do we really do it? Multiple ways of doing it. There is infrastructure as a service, there can be a private cloud, there can be a public cloud. But do we really get confused at this stage saying what is the right way, which way to go, or just do what actually best suits you at this particular stage? If you look at this slide, I think it's been covered, but traditionally the way we have been doing computing is investing a lot in the infrastructure, building it up, building bespoke applications, but the cloud gives us tremendous opportunity over here. It's like you can start delivering services to citizens quickly. They can just connect through the internet and then connect through any device and access those particular services over there. ROI is definitely a subject which has to be looked at, because as Dr. Ajay showed one slide saying that if current utilization of data centers today is only 15%, at this stage can we really talk about ROI? Because we are at a stage where we have to really leverage on what we have built right now, move forward and leverage on everything what has been built over there. So I think it will be too early to talk about ROI from that perspective, but at the end I have some slides which says from learning from some of the global countries saying if they have cloud, how they did them at this stage. If you look at this particular slide, it clearly indicates that your annual spending is increasing every year by year, but was it going into? If you look at clearly indicates it's more on the complexity, it's more on the management, it's more on the admin cost which is coming there. But the biggest concern here is also the power which is being utilized, because the large data centers are being built across the globe. So if you really want to look at how do you really manage this uncontrolled growth which is happening in these particular areas. Are we really ready in India? I will say definitely yes, because if you look at trends which was this particular slide shows, India is, I think, one of the countries where the most of the search is being done on the cloud computing. So I think if you look at from the knowledge perspective in the cloud area, I think we are ready to understand what cloud delivers today for us and can we really move in. I will say I think we are ready for doing it right now. So it's primarily the consumption of new services. It talks about self-service, making our citizens also aware in terms of how can they quickly get into services, make it more agile and flexible for them to connect to any of the service which today government is rolling out. Private, public, hybrid is definitely different terminology, but today government, if they start with, as sir also said that, I think private is the first step to start with saying, okay, set up our own private cloud. Even yesterday, if people were there in the UID session, and the point came up, why not start with our own data centers across the country? And then the moment we need more computing power, connect to different data center, get into a private cloud or a community cloud, leverage those resources which are available, and then use those computing power. So we don't have to really restrict ourselves saying that what kind of a methodology we want to adapt over there. Cloud is primarily, I'll say, maybe to start with, in typically, because when we are talking about a lot about data centers, it's about a platform. It says moving one layer beyond virtualization. So we are not just talking about virtualization at the server level. We're talking about how can we really make it more agile and flexible, even from a storage and a networking. So can we have a platform in a data center which says, today in India, if the data centers in every states are being set up, can I have a platform which says the moment new services come up, I will port it onto this particular platform, look at what are the resources available. So today, if the utilization is 15%, I have 85% more capacity available. So I can keep porting new services to this, my maybe a grid of pool of resources, and then keep leveraging on that. So out of the box, put a platform in the data center and leverage rather than investing new infrastructure service by service over here. So is it really new? I'll say not really, because we have to look at, it's just a new way of delivering services, and focus is definitely on the self-service and making it more agile over here. We discussed a lot about different layers, but I think I'll just like to say, you can start at any point of time looking at your own department or state's requirement. You can look at building up an infrastructure right now. You can look at building up a platform, because somewhere you're also working on building all those services which are based on different applications. So either of the way you can start, and then start porting these onto your cloud environment. This is typically, I was just referring to, saying that that is what we are doing today, and I think it is just tip of the iceberg, because if you look at some of the services being mentioned over there, look at the vertical part, which is primarily the infrastructure. So can cloud be ported on top of this infrastructure? And says, irrespective of what services are we talking about, do I have a platform where I just put in, and then I quickly have to more focus on the services from a state perspective or a department perspective, and roll it out across the state or a particular department over there. Now, this is just a slide I wanted to show here. It's been a framework which has been developed by NIST, National Institute of Science and Technology, Standard and Technology, which says, if you look at this slide, it says governments can really adopt any model. If you look at, you want to implement a private cloud, because the concern is definitely security, and you don't have to roll out every service onto a public cloud, because if you want to control who has access to what data, start with the private cloud. But depending on what services you want to roll out, and if, like Dr. Ajay said, that if it's a content being created by school children over there, can it be still ported onto a public cloud? Because it does not really limit you from, or concerns in terms of the data confidentiality and who has access to what kind of a data, and that's where you build from. So it can be started from there and moved into a public domain. If you look at, this was a slide which primarily more talks about US, but I just wanted to highlight this, saying that in 1998 we were talking about 432 data centers which were there in US. In 2009 it became 1100 data centers across US. What was the concern? One, the growth was almost 150%. Second, the power consumption was 6 billion kilowatts. Now if you look at this slide, by 2011 the requirement from a power consumption will be 12 billion kilowatts over there. And then from a initiative perspective, we have to look at what goes into cloud. Why does we have to really move into a cloud initiative, so that it really helps us? One is saving this kind of a power consumption, and quickly roll out the services which we are talking about today. Security is definitely a concern, because who has access to what data, where is the data located in a cloud environment, how do we do data segregation, because there are so many applications which are being rolled out. The data may reside into one data center, but the access may happen from somewhere, so you want to really control on that. So private cloud is what to start with. If we say quickly get the resources what you want over there, and then move. Have a cloud assurance which says, even if it gets complex, you have a way to manage the complexity of data centers which are coming in. Last two slides, which says, just to show that what really helped as a cloud initiative. So the organization has 1800 physical server. The first step they took was saying that, okay, if we move towards a cloud, it became a pool of 400 servers only, where they could roll out all the services, and you can look at the cost saving which really helped over there. This is like another example saying that they had only one service which could rolled out initially, but moving towards a cloud initiative, they had a lot of new services which came in, and they were easily and quickly able to roll out. So yes, there is a ROI in terms of saving power, saving infrastructure cost, which we want to really deploy over there. But I think we have to see as and when we are moving forward, what services we want to roll out from state perspective. So just saying